Well, here we are. I'm Tom Osman, and this is Whatever Comes Next. It's the podcast where I explore the world of underground and independent music making. And on today's episode, I am talking with Tamás Kátai, the founder and mastermind of Hungarian avant-garde metal group Thy Catafalque, who are just about to release their 12th album on Season of Mist. And for those not speaking Hungarian, the album in its simplest form is entitled 12. The full name is in Hungarian, and I will leave it to Tamás to pronounce that in its full native tongue glory. But it is translated into English as The Beautiful Dreams Are Yet to Come. And it is indeed a beautiful, at times dreamlike, also powerful, sometimes folk infused. There are maybe classical Baroque elements to it. There's extreme metal. You can hear the black metal heritage. It's very melodic, very earwormy in parts. Beautiful interplay between different vocalists, and yeah, the band itself, as Tamás talks about in the interview, in its current iteration has 8 members when they're on stage, but actually, if you look at the credits of the album, there are about 26, 27, 28, something like that, people actually playing on it, with lots of different instrumentation, which is peppered throughout the album, creating this really rich tone, which I think all is knitted together extremely well. And yeah, it's a really enjoyable listening experience. And if you haven't already done so, I strongly suggest that you check out the tracks that are available online already, with, as I say, the album being released very soon, this Friday. In fact, I am going to play the opening track from the album at the end of this episode. But before then, you can hear Tamás talking about the album, about the history of the band, and yeah, we're going to get into it. So you can purchase the album, if you so wish, from Season of Mist. They have a North American and a European web store. I will put links into the description. You can also go to Thy Catafalque's official website, which is thy-catafalque.hu. They have links to their various social media. They have links to their web store. You can find all things related to the band there. You can follow me at Tom Osman Sounds, and you can check out what I'm doing musically at tomosmansounds.com. I've just released an album with Augurio Drama on Drama Recorder called Real Silence. Doesn't really sound like Thy Catafalque, but, you know, it's a bit kind of avant-garde, so perhaps we have that little touching distance aspect in common. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get on with the interview. Tamás Kátai of Thy Catafalque, take it away. Whereabouts are you joining me from?
I'm in Hungary, in Budapest.
But I understand that for some time you lived not so far away from me. You were in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So
Where are you?
I'm in Glasgow.
Glasgow, all right.
So how did you end up living in Scotland, and why did you decide to go back to Hungary?
Well, it was in 2008, 7 or 8, when a lot of my friends moved out of the country, mainly because of financial reasons. And I had my old band called XII, and I just left at home by myself because everyone from the band left for the UK, actually. And I decided, okay, I should go as well, because my workplace was not so good, and we wanted to move together with my girlfriend, and it looked like a good option to go together and then move together. And one of my friends, some of my friends were in London, and the other half was in Edinburgh. So I had to decide which way, and it was obvious for me that I should go to Scotland, because most of the people went to London, and I didn't want the crowd, and I think Scotland has always been a more mystical and a more interesting and exciting place than England.
You'll have no disagreement from me here.
All right, okay. I thought so. But really, I love Scotland, and I had been living there for 10 years, more than 10 years.
Mm.
I left 2018 because of the family reasons, and I had to move back. And I try to visit Scotland every year since then. So I go back in end of May usually, because there's the Edinburgh Marathon Festival.
Yeah.
And I always go back because I've been attending like only 10 kilometers, not the whole marathon.
Ah.
And that's a good excuse for me just to go back and visit Scotland and stay there for a week or two.
Yeah,
Just going up to the Highlands and just visit Edinburgh in general, because I love the city and the Highlands especially.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. No, it's great to hear you talk about it as well. I've only just come back to Scotland recently. I've been living in various different places. I was in Czech Republic for a while, and I was in Germany.
All right, that's nice as well. Czech Republic is very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
yeah,
you sort of, I mean, I understand you've traveled around, you've toured around, but I guess Czech Republic is probably one of the places that you would play in most frequently outside of Hungary. Would that be right to say?
Well, actually, no. Well, we have played 2 times in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
But, well, considering we had like 26 shows altogether since the band is a live band.
Mm.
So two out of 26, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's true. That's it. When you break it down to percentages.
I think on the tour, we had a European tour. It was only 10 cities. No, 2 gigs in the Netherlands, 2 gigs in Germany, Belgium, and probably, well, no, in Romania we had 3 gigs. So Romania is the winning.
It's one at the top at the moment.
With 3 shows, yeah.
Now I feel like it's going to be a running theme in this interview that I'm going to mispronounce things.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Hungarian diacritics, so I don't know if I can even try to pronounce how you would say your forthcoming album. But maybe you can say it. So first of all, I hope I'm not going to pronounce the band incorrectly. Thy Catafalque, is that how I should say?
Yeah, that's absolutely. But that's in English. This is English. So.
Oh, really? So what does it actually mean?
No, it is English. It's medieval English, actually.
Ah.
But catafalque is an English word. It's coming from Latin, but it is.
Well, there you go. I should
Greek?
know that.
I'm not sure about that, but Latin was borrowing a lot from Greek. So
the forthcoming album, if you translate it into English, is 12 The Beautiful Dreams Are Yet to Come. Yeah. How do you say that in Hungarian?
The title?
Yeah.
Gyönyörű, álmok, ezután jönnek.
There you go. It was going to sound much less beautiful when I said it than you.
It's beautiful. I don't know. Well, I knew that it was going to be very hard for everyone outside Hungary. So this is why I put 12 in front of it. So you can at least you can name the album.
Yeah.
Because I know how annoying it is when you're not even able to name the album itself. So it's just 12, and that's more simple.
Now, one thing I've noticed, if I'm not wrong, this is the first time that you've numbered one of your albums. So is there some special significance to that?
No, that's the only reason, because the title was too much fucked up for everyone else. So I wanted something stable and something that people can call the album.
Okay, that's a simple explanation.
I think it's a good idea, actually, and probably I will keep it in the future because I have always been limited with choosing the titles of the albums. Because if you look at the album titles, they are more or less, all of them are like international words.
Yep.
It's because it's to be easier to pronounce and to connect to for everyone outside Hungary. But I like to give, well, it was limiting. But if I just put a Roman numerals before the album title, and then I can do whatever I want to, because numbers are there. So that's one part of the title. So probably I will keep on doing this because then I won't be limited with the titles.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I was thinking to myself as well that you, from what I understand, have got quite a long history with languages in general. So I don't know if you still are, but you have been an English language teacher and a Hungarian literature teacher.
Yeah, that's my degree actually, but I was teaching like 2 years, 1.5 years in Hungary, English and Hungarian language and literature, and then I left the field completely because I on went to work in a hospital and completely different fields. So I was teaching, but I have never been a good teacher. I didn't really care about that at all.
Okay.
And now in Hungary, it's teaching is like a battlefield. Really, it's not a good place, and I don't even consider going back. If I go back teaching, that it's an absolute emergency.
Okay, I see. There's the final backup plan.
Yeah.
But thinking about, obviously you do know English and you know Hungarian. I imagine you probably speak some other languages as well in there
No.
too.
Well, no. We were studying German in secondary school, and some I speak, but it's nothing serious. And and we had to study Russian as well in primary school. Everybody had to. It was mandatory.
One of the things that interests me when people are making music and their native language isn't English, but there is an English element to it. I wonder for you, on that topic of deciding whether something's going to be in Hungarian and whether something's going to be in English, how do you feel about that? Because I imagine that you have a feeling for the languages that will be very different. I know that Hungarian is such a unique language. There isn't really anything else like it. Like Finnish has sort of got some loose connection to it, but you probably feel that you can express things in quite a different way in Hungarian and English. So like, what's the sort of trade-off for you between the two?
Well, it's very simple because we were using English language only on our first two albums. And since then it's only Hungarian. So it's decided.
Okay.
because I think on the third album we had one song. I had one song in English, and then I was writing the second one, and I thought that why do I do this? I can't even express myself properly on a language that is not my native language. So I was thinking about that, and I said, okay, fuck the whole thing. I do it in the best way I can, the most natural way, which is my native tongue, whatever it is, and it happens to be Hungarian. So obviously that's the language that I can express myself the most naturally and the best way. So it has been a no-brainer, and then I chose that path, and since then, 2004, it's been like this. So I'm not even considering using English anymore.
Okay, but you'll still do interviews in English.
Sorry?
But you'll still do interviews in English.
Yeah, I speak English. I like English language, but when it's about the art, it's obvious that it is much more natural for me to use my own language.
Yeah. Well, that's good because I sort of feel that there probably is a feeling of pressure for a lot of artists that are non-native English speakers where they think, oh, we should probably do this in English because it'll get us a bigger market. But
yes, there was we didn't have a discussion about this, but I know, of course, this is a dilemma, and it can be a valid point if you, for example, I thought it depends on the style and the genre. If you play like thrash metal, probably I think English is the best way to express yourself in thrash metal because I cannot even name any good bands singing not in English in that genre. But in black metal and especially in black metal, I think it has been much more. It just adds to the mysticism and the uniqueness of the sound that you don't use English language, and there's a mystery to it, and I think it is well suited to the genre itself. So it's sort of easy for me because I happen to be in that musical style that is absolutely just good for this kind of different languages.
So thinking about that topic of the musical styles, I guess if we go back and we listen to your earlier work, it's more readily identifiable with black metal.
Yes.
And with the latest record, I would say there are so many different elements. Like you can hear the extreme metal in there. I would say there's prog rock. There's obviously a lot of folk elements in there as well. And I know that you brought in different styles and elements into previous albums, but was this a challenge at all to get everything to blend together? Because you do have so many different shifts in style across the record.
Well, I don't feel it is not a challenge for me. I mean, it's just a natural way of creating something, and I never plan it, and I never consider what I will do for the next album. I don't care. It's just whatever comes. So I don't force anything, and if it usually anything that I feel fitting for my ideas, I have no problem using it, trying it. I try many things, and many things don't make it for the album because of course it's normal, but I don't feel like it is something very hard to deal with because it comes normal naturally, and it just I don't really consider borders and these stylistic rules, and so if I'm free in that aspect, so I don't have to worry about this at all.
Yeah, I usually hesitate when I'm writing about music. I try to avoid overemphasizing genres too much because I feel like it can become a bit of a straitjacket, but also as well sometimes just very convenient as a sort of entry point to say, well, this is kind of this style and kind of that.
Yes, of course, yes, it is. Yeah. But for me, it's not. It's I like different genres, and I think it's just fun to just cross them.
Yeah.
If if you feel like that, you don't have to do it all the way. It's not my point that, to mix everything, like everything possible, because it doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
But if you have an idea that probably you think it doesn't fit the genre, but still let's try it, and usually it turns out fine.
Yeah, you're not going to limit yourself, but you don't push yourself to incorporate things necessarily. Yeah. You brought up the live iteration of the band, so I'm thinking about the recording of the current album. So you're credited with vocals, with bass, guitar, I think keyboards, as well as programming. But then you have, I think it's like 27 different guests on the record. Yep. So that maybe plus or minus a couple. So when you're playing live, what's the actual lineup, the live lineup of the band?
Well, we have a stable lineup. So when we formed this live incarnation of the band, like 3 years ago, approximately, we still have the same 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't change. And we have an absolutely normal lineup, like 2 guitars, bass, myself, drums, and we have, but the only difference is we have 4 vocalists, two males and two ladies. So that's all. And we try to sort out everything with this lineup. And sometimes we have guest musicians on stage with cello or some oud or some extra instruments that are friends who probably played on the album or have these extra instruments who can play those. But usually we just 8 people on stage, and we just need to rearrange the songs in a way that they work live and they work like the way that we can perform more or less. But I don't sweat about it. So I don't want everything to be like perfect live, because when you're on stage, that's it shifts. The focus is shifting. It is not the same importance of nuances. It's just a raw power. I think it's more important on stage. Just having the energy instead of reproducing everything on stage what is on the albums.
Yeah,
because it's two different things.
And have you performed tracks from the forthcoming album live yet?
Yes, we played the title song already 2 times, and I think we played the bonus track as well, which is not supposed to be on the album itself. It is not on the physical formats. It's only on the digital ones.
That's Babylon, right?
Yes, and it's a cover.
Yeah.
So it is just an additional fun song. And I didn't want to put it on the album because it didn't really fit. I felt it was not very. I didn't find the place for it.
Yeah.
So I think the way it is, like we have 10 songs, and with the last one, it just finishes the album so well. So and I didn't find a place for this bonus song. So I said to the label that okay, let's just don't put it on the physical uh, editions. And also, if it would have been put on the vinyl, it would have been a double vinyl because it would have been too long. So I didn't want a double vinyl anyway because it's too expensive, and I just wanted to keep it single.
Now, I wanted to ask you about one of the particular songs, and this is once again going to be the topic of me mispronouncing things. It's track number 8. I would say it's Köd Királyi?
Yes. Köd Királyi.
Okay, thank you.
Almost there.
So yeah, this like there's a number of tracks and there's a number of parts really stand out to me, but I kind of wanted to pick that one out because I think the way that it evolves through the different passages, it has this very kind of like soothing style to begin with, and then it goes very dark. It's kind of chugging. The vocals change. I'm not actually sure how many different vocalists you have on that track. Oh, it's just two.
Yeah,
okay.
Just the lady and the gentleman. Yes.
So could just taking that song as an example, because I think it's quite interesting the way it does have all these different aspects to it. How do you go about constructing that, and what is that song actually about?
Well, the title means King of Fog. So it's an autumn song. It's about I think passing away, like many of my songs. And it's an interesting thing because I many times I do this, that I have the key motif, the key motif of the melody, probably the first thing, and it just goes through the whole song. But the arrangement changes. But the melody itself, it stays exactly the same, and it just goes through the whole song. And I think it is very interesting that you have this motif wandering through the album, the song, and it's a long song. It's 8 minutes, and so it is just the first part is about the lady and then the girl's voice, and it's about her perspective, and the second part is the male perspective, which is in this case it's not even a male. It's more like death, life and death, and they are just there's this first part is about life and the second one is about death, but the lyrics to the two parts is almost exactly the same.
Okay, from the two different sides.
Yes.
And I was thinking as well about the kind of folk aspect to your music. So I know that you've incorporated folk elements along the way for years. But there were particular tracks like, here we go again, track 6, Diahos.
Lydia, that's Lydia.
Ah.
It means to Lydia.
Oh, like okay.
The name.
So that was one that stood out to me, even though I'm not that familiar with like Hungarian folk music. I would imagine that that's sort of steeped in quite a lot of Hungarian folk tradition. Is that so?
Well, actually, no.
Ah.
Because it is more like Bulgarian folk.
Aha.
So it's more Balkanic. It's more southern and eastern, but it's a cover. I don't know if you know it, but it is a cover.
Okay,
song.
No, I didn't know that.
It is a cover from 1980, and it is coming from a band, and there was a gentleman who was dealing with folk music. He was collecting music, and he was like Béla Bartók. Is a bit similar to Béla Bartók. What he did, he was collecting old folk music, and that's why Hungarian folk music is very rich, because Béla Bartók was collecting all these old songs, and everything is notated and everything is registered, and you can look them up now, because he hunted down all the old songs. So, and this guy Ferenc Rebő, that's his name, he was it was making a handful of very nice folk albums. But this music is not only Hungarian, but it's around Hungary. So more Central and Southern European. And this particular song, I think it's more based on Bulgarian folk.
Mm.
But the lyrics is Hungarian. And the lyrics actually is coming from Horatius, who was a Roman poet 2000 years ago. So there's plenty of different layers to this song.
Yeah. And you brought up before, like having motifs in your songs that repeat in different forms. To me, that sounds like a very kind of classical device. Are you originally classically trained as a musician?
No, I'm not trained at all. I have never. That's a shame, and I'm not proud of it at all. And it's very unfortunate that I never had any musical training at all. I was what everyone in Hungary had in school, in primary school and secondary school, which was basically just almost nothing, just singing some folk songs, and basically that was it. That was a musical education I don't have anymore. So I really like classical music. I listen to classical music a lot. I like Baroque music, and I know that of course this is like absolutely. I think that's the highest point of art, Baroque music especially, and it's very far from my standards, of course. But I'm very sorry that I didn't study any music in my life. So everything is coming is more like instinct, I think. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know there are many great musicians that aren't, trained. It's just kind of interesting to me. It's like to come across someone who's been playing music for so long. It gives the appearance like, oh yes, you must have done, lots of formal training. But I guess it's the power of repeated practicing and playing.
No, and also, which is, I think it's not a very good background that my family never had any musician, any artist or anything like that at all. No one. So I don't know. We didn't have any instrument at home. I don't know how it came from and where it came from, but I was interested in music, but no one else in the family have ever been interested in any form of art.
Well, that is very interesting from that point of view. So do you have recollections of particular people or maybe events that sort of inspired you to get into music if it wasn't around you?
No, I have recollections of myself just when I was very old, very small. And I was always trying to create something out of nothing. It was very interesting for me just to try to, making a book with coloring. And I was trying to create something when I was a kid, and I didn't have the means. I didn't know what to do. And then I got a computer when I was like 10 or 9 something. It was a British product. It was EX Spectrum.
I remember the Spectrums.
Yeah. So we had one in 1986 or something. It was very new then. It was very expensive, but my father somehow he just got one for me, and then I was able to program some music on it. It was very, very basic. It was basic language. That was the name of the programming language, basic, and it was basic. But I was able to program some melodies, and that's when I realized that it's fun, and I had the means to do something, to create something. And then I had I had a Commodore 64 and then a Commodore Amiga, which were much more serious. And then I started to compose music myself. And I could use the graphic programs as well. So that was a very nice exploration for me, that the personal computers.
Now, originally when you started Thy Catafalque, it was a duo, is that right?
Yes.
And that was born out of, I wanted to say Gort, but is it Jort?
No, actually it's Gort. But yes, you are right. Yeah, because we had the band called Gire. That was GIRE. That was the first band. I was a keyboard player there. It was a local band with my friends. and I was a keyboard player, yeah. And we had a friend, János, who was playing the guitar, and then we had a side project besides Zsír with the guitarist from Zsír was playing the drums, I was playing keyboards and singing, and János was playing the guitar, and that was Gort. And we had it was more black metal-ish, because Zsír was more extreme metal, like death, thrash, industrial, and Gort was more black metal because János was more into black metal. So we had this small project, and after a year or something, we had to break up because of some incident in the rehearsal room, and we lost the drum kit, and it was all over. And then with János and me, we decided to keep on going, but with a drum machine because we didn't have a drummer anymore. So, and
when you say you lost the drum kit, you mean like it was damaged?
No, we didn't have a drum kit. There was another band who gave us their drum kit when they were not rehearsing. But then all the bands had to leave the room because of an incident.
Okay.
And everyone had to leave. So we lost the drum kit because the drum kit went with the other guy.
Oh, okay.
With the other band. So we didn't have any drum kit because our drummer was a guitarist, and he was just drumming whenever he had a drum kit. He didn't have a drum kit at the time. So we went on together with the drum machine, and we decided, okay, we have a drum machine now, and we have no limits, so let's program it like as fast as it's possible. And, and this is how we more extreme way of playing music, and that was how Thy Catafalque started. And then after a year or two, we recorded the demo for Gort, but because at that time we didn't record anything. But 2 years later, we decided to record the Gort demo, whatever, 4 songs. But it was well after the band, it was disbanded, so the band was not existing anymore. But we just wanted to record it just like a tribute for our earlier years.
Yeah, like a testament to what you'd been doing before.
Yeah. And it turned out very well. I think it's 4 songs. It's quite good. I like it.
And when you think about Thy Catafalque and that have you been going as a project, been going for 30 years? No,
not yet. We are not yet here because we started in 1998.
Oh, so it was in 98. Okay.
26 years now.
So, when you look over the course of your career with the band and all the different albums, how do you feel in terms of where you've got to now versus where you started out? Did you always sort of have the feeling that you were going to be evolving in lots of different directions, or are you sort of surprised when you look back at the different phases of the band?
Well, I always started like, even our first demo, we had a 10-minute long ambient song. So we didn't hold it back even back then when we started. I think I was a bit more adventurous than János, and probably it led to our breakup after 10 years later, because he was more traditional, and I don't blame him at all, because I am more adventurous than most people, I think. So if you're, so it's not easy, I think, to work with me, because I have so many ideas and different ideas, and I can imagine many people would say, okay, that's too much for them, and that's reasonable. I absolutely admit it. So at least I have always been adventurous in that sense. So probably it's normal that we ended up here, like playing a very, very colorful style, styles, whatever. And I don't really think about this. I mean, it has been part of my life for like 26 years. I'm working with it. I'm still excited about like recording new music, and it's just a part of myself, and I don't think about the journey like very often. It's just life.
So one thing I noticed about the latest album is that it says that you recorded it in a number of different countries: Hungary, the UK, Romania, Ukraine, Italy, Spain, Greece, North Macedonia, Israel, USA, Colombia, and Brazil. Was that you personally recording in those
Uh,
places, or was it
no, no, of course.
the different
No,
guests?
most of the times I was sitting here. Like, no, no, no. It's other people using the internet and other people recording at home, and they send me over, and then we discuss. And many times, most of the times, it's absolutely fine. So they send me over their parts, and I start to edit them and make something out of the material they send me over.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Of course, I don't travel to Colombia for like 1 minute of, I don't know, flute.
And thinking about the various guests you had and the really interesting instrumentation that you've got, was there anything that you were bringing into the recording that you'd never had before?
This time, yes, bouzouki, for example, which is a Greek instrument, and there are some Greek instruments that I didn't even know about. But then I for Lydiaos, the song itself, I think the that song is very Middle Eastern. It has a Middle Eastern vibe. So the basic thing is that now I try to bring in as many natural instruments as I can, even if I can usually I can sort it out using VST or keyboards or synthesizers. But I think because the drums are still programmed
Yep.
for a reason, which will probably change in the future, but still on this album it's programmed drums, and I try to get in as many natural solo instruments as I can to have the natural balance, the healthy balance of the warmness and the coldness in the album.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm able to, I try to soften the album with real instruments, because they make a lot of difference.
Yep.
Even if it's just a small, like you have 20 minutes of a flute, for example, but if it is played by a real flutist, it's much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that probably that does make a lot of sense, because listening to the album before I read the credits, I wouldn't have necessarily said, oh, these are obviously programmed drums. So I think the fact that you do have the organic instrumentation around it, like you say, it balances out the overall tone.
And you read the credits, and there's like 26 or 28 musicians on it. But I think when you listen to the album, you don't really realize there are so many instruments on it, because it's organic and it's natural. And I didn't want to overcrowd it with instruments. It was not the reason. If it is just you have the small part, really, like the cello has like 30 seconds on the whole album.
Yeah.
But it was important to have a real cello there. And if I had a cellist, I didn't want to have cello all over the album, because it would have been too much.
Yeah.
It would have been too much. So it was just if there's a reason for it, and if it probably cello would sound nice there, then okay, let's use a real cello there.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. Something that I'm interested to get insight about from different artists and musicians is the sort of the business side of making music. So you've been involved in the music world for several decades, and you've probably seen a lot of trends changing over the years. And obviously we've got this huge emphasis on streaming music and online platforms and all of this. In terms of kind of, making music and making money out of it, how viable have you found it to have a career in music over the years, and has that changed significantly?
I never considered myself to be a professional musician, so I always had daytime jobs. And I like to keep it that way, because if in that way you are not dependent on the sales.
Yeah.
And you are really free. You do whatever you want to. And if when I was in Scotland, for example, I kept my daily job. It was a cleaner. I was doing cleaning for 5 years, because that was most suitable for the way I was writing music. And because I started at 6 a.m. and I left at 10, and then I was a librarian after that until 3 p.m. And then I was free to do what I really wanted. And what I really wanted was just playing music. But I did have the financial freedom, because I had some salary and it was enough to live on. And I didn't have to be dependent on the income from the music, and which is not enough anyway to live on. at this level. Of course, it is just it is still like an extra money if you want to have it. But by this time we play live, and for example, recording music like the way I do, like using real instruments most and many guests, it costs a lot of money, of course, because many times it is not. You have to pay, of course, because this is work of other people, and that's fine. It's session musicians, so the income that I get is usually just going into the next album.
Yeah.
And that's fine because I have a normal job. So I'm okay with that. And for me, it was the most important thing, just to create music. So it was simple. It has always been very simple. And it's still, I think it's a simple question for me.
And in terms of what formats you like to release the music on, how much does the financial aspect come into that? Whether it's going to be vinyl or CD or cassette or whatever else.
It's not me deciding about that. It's the label. And it's of course, and I leave it to them because they know what they are doing. They have been in the business for decades.
Yeah.
And they know what they are doing, and they don't say anything about what I submit. So I have my artistic freedom from them. And I just leave the financial decisions to them because everyone knows their own task the best.
Yeah.
So I also work for a music label myself.
Oh.
That's my daytime job. So I know that side, what they are doing. And I know that it's better not to come up with ideas and weird ideas because the label knows better what works.
Can you say which label you work for?
Well, the label is not really active anymore. Well, we are just we have an old catalog, and we don't have new stuff anymore. So it is not really active. I don't know, probably. I don't know if I should say it.
No, you don't have to. If you're not sure about it, then maybe better not to say it. But
no, because that's a weird thing about the label, because when we started, it's a very small one. And when we started, it was not, my full name was not even anywhere. So it was not even it was just an initial that we used. Everyone used initials. So it was a tradition. And there were 3 of us in the beginning, and then now it's 2 of us. So probably it's better not to say it.
We can keep the element of mystery.
Yeah. But it's not a big label, it's a very small one.
So thinking about different formats in terms of your appreciation as a music listener, do you have any particular preference? Or does it just depend on where you are and what formats you have access to?
What is the question again? Sorry.
When you're listening to music, would you prefer, for example, to listen to a record or?
Yes, well, these times I try to focus on listening to music, because I think it's a problem of everyone just having access to music anytime, and the music is losing its real value. I think with that. So what I do is usually, unfortunately not all the time, but I try to stop everything around 9 in the evening and try to listen to one album, but without anything else before going to bed. It's not in front of a computer, but just putting the headphones on and turn off everything else and just listen to the music and focus on it and rediscover all albums that I have heard many times. But when you listen to it very carefully after 10-15 years with the headphones, you always discover new things, and it's fun. So I try to do this, and I try not to listen to music in the daytime, because it's like noise then. When you try to work and then there's music in the background, it's nothing. I think it just takes away from the music and from the thing you do. So I try not to do this. I don't even have headphones. I never use headphones on the street, for example. Because because I think it's dangerous, and it is not quality music listening experience at all.
I think you are absolutely right. I mean, I have definitely been guilty of that a lot in the past, but I also find as well when I'm out on the street and I don't have music, then I find there's more like thinking going on. There's more processing. There are more ideas. Whereas if I'm listening to something, it just kind of like dampens my brain.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, and your vision as well. So it is not very good, I think, and I try to avoid it, and it's easy to avoid if you don't have headphones.
That's true. Yeah. Now, thinking of the release of the album, so I know that Season of Mist are pretty good with distribution. So the label will have like a European store and they'll have a North American store as well. Is there anywhere else in particular? I mean, like I guess, for example, when you're playing live, you'll have copies of the album. Do you also have a web store for the band that you'll be selling the record?
We do have a web store, yes. It's smaller, of course, than the Season of Mist, but we have some albums and rarities in our own web store as well. Yeah.
And what's the address?
You can, the band has a website, the official website. It's what is that, hyphen or whatever it is, Catafalque.
Yeah, I think that's the hyphen. Yeah.
Yes, .hu. It's Hungarian. And then there's a web store, whatever link there.
Yeah.
Which things there. So it's everything, all the important information. I keep the website very up to date, and with all the information about the discography and the live performances, set lists, and ticket links and everything, lineup changes if there was any, or lineups. Everything is there, and I think it's important to have a website with all the relevant and exact information about the band.
I totally agree. I am a great appreciator of bands when they have functioning websites, because I know that social media is useful and important, but
yes,
I kind of feel like it can take over. And if you have your own website, then I appreciate that. It's more like of the band rather than them inserting themselves into some platform.
Yeah. We didn't have, we have it since 2023 or something, and I was really suffering not to have the website, and okay, I said that's enough. We had to have one, so I made it myself. Yeah.
And would I be right to think that if people go to the website, then there would be links to different platforms? Like I think the band's on Instagram, maybe you're on Facebook as well. I'm not sure.
Yes. There are links to social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, or whatever it is.
Whatever we're supposed to call it now.
I don't think Bandcamp, but other than that, probably don't even have more. I think I have a TikTok, but I have a TikTok just to have the name on it, because I didn't want to use someone else to use the name. So
I see. Just to block
myself there, but there's nothing there.
Okay, yeah. So thinking in terms of live shows, so I guess that'll all be put up on the website. But do you have any dates lined up? I mean, this will go out closer to the date of the album coming out in November. So do you have shows booked for around about then, or ideas of what you want?
Yes, we have a show in Hungary, a double show actually, on November 22nd and 23rd, but they are sold out by now. So that's it. And then before that, we will have a show in Greece and one in Spain, but there's nothing else actually. I know we will have a gig in Belgium next August at Alcatraz Festival, but it's not public yet. I don't know, probably it will be public by then, but it's so far away, like August the 8th, 2025. So
it's a while away.
That's all we have at the moment.
Okay.
We will have a European tour. We plan to have a European tour again next spring, but we don't have any dates yet.
Okay. Well, but so if anyone wants to...
We don't play much live. The problem with playing live is that there are too many people in the band.
I was thinking, you talked about it before like it was very simple, like, we just have 8 people. And I thought that's going to be relatively hard to coordinate for a tour.
It is. Not about the coordination, but the costs.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 bands. And you have to, the cost of traveling and the cost of catering and the cost of accommodation.
Yeah.
It always adds up, and we don't have so many fans around the world that would really justify the cost of the band. But that's what we are, and I don't want to leave anyone at home. So
Yeah.
either this way or we just stay at home. I'm fine with that, either of that. So it's
I,
okay.
I like that. I like that. It's it being true to the vision. This is the way it's going to be, and we're either going to do this or we're not going to do it.
Yeah, it's fine because I'm fine with staying at home and writing music then. So that's
Yeah.
good for me.
Well, it was great to talk to you. And yeah, I've
Thank you
really
very
been
much.
enjoying the album. I hope you get a great reception when it comes
Thank
out.
you.
And if I see that you are playing anywhere near to where I am, I will make sure I take the opportunity to come and see you guys
Yeah, sure.
live.
I really would love. Last year, no, 2 years ago, we went to play in London, and then we wanted to go up to Scotland, but it didn't happen because of logistical reasons,
Mm.
which is partly because there are too many of us. And it's horrible to get into the UK
Mm.
like in a legal way, because
Yeah.
you have to declare that you're going to work, and then you have to pay. I don't know what, but it's not easy to get there.
Yeah.
And I would really like to play in Scotland because that's my second home. So I love the place, and I am happy anytime I go near Scotland. So I really would love to. Well, in Edinburgh, there's not many places. It's not the metal scene. I think it's very
I
weak in Edinburgh.
I
But
think
Glasgow
yeah.
is different. Edinburgh is more like jazz and classical,
Mm.
very strong in classical, and I really loved uh, going to classical shows there, and even jazz. But I was living there for 10 years, and probably I attended like 6 or 7 metal shows because that was all.
I've always kind of felt Edinburgh's a bit more like appreciating things from a distance, and Glasgow is a bit more interactive.
Yes, probably. Yeah, yeah. I can see that if in terms of metal, that's very much like that. But there are no metal bands at all in Edinburgh. I think there are very few of them.
Mm. Yeah,
I
I
don't know
can't
what
think
is
of any.
going on now, but when I was there, it's a very good death metal band. Uh, very good, but they split up. What the hell was I forgot the name? Something Cancerous Womb.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that definitely sounds like a metal band.
Yeah, yeah, it was this. It was very cool. I really loved it, but they split up. So that's all I know about the Edinburgh scene. And Exploited is from Edinburgh, no? Exploited, the
Oh,
punk band.
yeah, yeah, Exploited. Oh, that's a good point. I don't remember if they're from Edinburgh. They may well be.
Yeah, what is from Edinburgh for sure because I met him
Ah.
several times on the streets of Edinburgh. So yeah, they are. I think they are mostly from Edinburgh. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. All the best.
Okay. Cheers. Bye bye.
Bye bye.